Welcome back to Clash of Cultures. Today we're going to be doing our 2023 preseason Heisman Contenders and Dark Horses video. If you guys are new to the channel, as always, please like, comment down below what you guys think of our takes, our opinions, our picks, and always subscribe. We're at about 600 subscribers right now. We're on the quest to get to 1,000. We're going to be doing another signed Heisman jersey at 1,000 subscribers. But this is going to be a little bit different video than we've been doing the last month. Those of you guys who have subscribed in the last month, 400 to 500 of you guys have followed us based on your team and finding us. So again, this is another college football video. So please feel free to give us your opinions, what you agree, what you disagree with, and give us your top 5 Heisman picks for the year after you guys watch the video. And again, this is an opinionated podcast. So if you think something's crazy, let us know that. But at the end of the day, it's opinionated podcast. So at the end of the day, we'll see what happens. What do you think about the Heisman, the Heisman race, I guess you want to say, the Heisman preview? And who do you have as your dark horses before we get into the top 5?
Yeah, so Heisman is to me, and what you will see as I get into my list, I think this is going to be a quarterback-led race. I think we have some great quarterbacks in college football next year. And we talked about them as we talked about teams. And I literally couldn't fit even all of the great quarterbacks. So I know I am going to upset somebody because I know as I kind of went, I guess you'll say 7 deep, that I left off somebody's player that somebody's going to be very upset with. And I'm going to be honest, I probably left off some player that I said I think is going to be in Heisman contention. This is going to change week to week. I guarantee when we actually get to the point where we have people going to New York, this list is going to be completely wrong. But getting to my dark horses.
Wait. Do one dark horse and we'll flip-flop back and forth. Sorry to cut you off.
So my first dark horse is going to be, because this player, I think it just plays a position that I don't think is going to win a Heisman, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. As you guys know, I'm an Ohio State fan. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is by far the best wide receiver in college football, and maybe the best player in college football. I think it's just so hard for a receiver to win the award. You have to literally blow away the competition. We know we've seen Deontay Smith, win it at Alabama, but to do it this year with, again, what I suspect to be so much great quarterback play, I think is a hard hill to climb, even though I think Marvin Harrison may be the first or second player drafted in the NFL draft. Who's your first dark horse?
So my first dark horse, it's not a Clemson player. It's not a Clemson player. Okay, but you were the way you looked at me. So my first dark horse is probably really far-fetched just because we don't even know if he's going to be playing. But I'm going to say the reason why I chose him as a dark horse is because I think he could have a Lamar Jackson type year. I'm going to say Jalen Milroe. And the reason why I'm going to say Jalen Milroe is a dark horse, I think he is the epitome and he's the definition of a dark horse because he may not even be the starter. They have so much QB controversy going on down there in Tuscaloosa. But I think if he is a starting quarterback for 12 games, and assuming Alabama does what Alabama things, finishes 11-1 or 12-0, I think he has a chance. But the reason why I have him as a dark horse is because, again, we don't know if he's going to be the starter. But I think he has the potential to do, great things like a Johnny Manziel, a Lamar Jackson, a Kyler Murray type performance statistical wise. So that's why I have him as a dark horse. Who is your second dark horse?
So my second dark horse is kind of hard. A lot of people are probably going to say, that's not really a dark horse. I've put him as a dark horse because I don't think he's started a full season yet. And there's a lot of hype around him already. But my second dark horse is Joe Milton. I think we all know the arm talent. And if he can do what I think he is going to do at Tennessee this year, I suspect that he can take one of these 5 or however many slots. I would not be surprised if he ends up one in New York. And I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran away and was able to get the Heisman because he has that much talent. Now, again, playing quarterback is much more than just do you have arm strength. And I'm sure you guys have seen the videos, him throwing the ball 80 yards and all types of ridiculous things. Can he put it together? Can he read a defense? Can he extend plays? Can he make smart plays and keep the ball out of trouble? If he can do those things, I think Joe Milton can find his way in New York. That's my second dark horse. Who's yours?
That's my second dark horse as well.
Oh!
So those of you guys who watched the Tennessee video, he's my pick to win the Heisman, but he's still a dark horse to me because I think just because I picked him to win the Heisman doesn't mean that the consensus, fan base does. So that's why I think he's a dark horse. It's a little bit different compared to Miller, though, because obviously we know Milton is going to be the starter and he's in a pass, oriented system. So it's a dark horse, but it's not really a dark horse at the same time because I don't think people would be surprised if he was, a top 3 in the Heisman ceremony in New York at the end of the year. But he is a dark horse for me. And before we get into our top 5, I do have all 7 quarterbacks. I know you had Marvin Harrison, but
yeah, I don't. Let me say this, and I'm sure people in Michigan are going to get upset. I do not. So I guess you'll say I do not have Blake Corum. The rest of my picks are quarterbacks, and again, I've given Michigan all the credit in the world. The reason I do not have Blake Corum is I think you're going to see Donovan Edwards get more carries this year.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see much more of a split this year.
Yeah, and even McCarthy, I think he's going to throw the ball around a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But I'll go first on my 5th on my list. My number 5 is Drake May. So I have Drake May at 5. The reason why I only have him at 5 and not a little bit higher is because those of you guys who watched the North Carolina preview, I think North Carolina's going to be really good. But again, same kind of context as far as Joe Milton goes. Just because I think North Carolina's going to be really good, that's not the general consensus. So I think there's a good chance that they, are 8-4 or 9-3. And I don't think an 8-3 or 8-4 or 9-3 quarterback can win the Heisman. So that's why I have him at 5th. But I think he's going to put up tremendous numbers. Even with losing Josh Downs, I still think he puts up tremendous numbers. I think he's a top 3 quarterback in college football, 3 to 5 at minimum. So I think 5th on this list is perfect for him. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if he won it, but I think North Carolina would have to have a stellar season.
All right. At number 5 for me, I have Michael Penix Jr. Again, 4,600 yards, 31 touchdowns last year. I suspect those touchdown numbers are going to go up. And I think if he can stay at about 4,500 yards again, and he's starting to get some hype with his name. I think the Pac-12 is starting to get some love, and I think they're going to continue to get love. I think people are going to watch Pac-12 games, and he's going to play some marquee games. I think you're going to see some game days out west. And I think you're going to see them play in prime time. I think he's going to get a lot of hype around him. And if he can deliver on that hype, he may find his way in New York.
So that was your number?
That was 5 for me.
Okay, so he's my number 4. So,
Okay.
You said everything that there is to say about Penix. I think Washington's going to be really good. Those of you guys who watched the Washington video, I think that team's going to be really good. They bring back a lot of receivers. My dad thinks it's the deepest receiving core in the Pac-12, and it'll be number 2 in the country behind Ohio State. So I think they have a lot of weapons there, and I think Penix has a lot to choose from when you're talking about distributing the ball. So I think number 4 is very reasonable. He could be even a couple spots higher on this list, but Penix at 4 is a good spot for him. Who's your number 4?
My number 4, and this is really based on, I think not only is this player going to have a good year, I think his team is going to have a good year. If you guys watch the videos, I got Jaden Daniels number 4 at LSU. I think LSU is going to have a good year, and I think if you're one of the top quarterbacks in the SEC, that you're going to get love. We all know SEC is going to get love. This is a dual threat guy, went for almost 3,000 yards passing last year. I suspect his passing numbers are going to be even higher. And I think they're going to do well in the SEC West next year. I suspect there's going to be a lot of love given to Jaden Daniels as we open up this season.
That was 4
for me.
All right, go ahead and give your number 3.
So my number 3, a guy I've also talked about quite a bit. Again, an out west guy, Bo Nix. I think this is the year for Bo Nix for it all to come together. We know 3,500 yards last year. He doesn't have a Georgia on the schedule this year, right? To kind of, and I think that's what tempered probably the love that he got last year, that bad game against Georgia. He's been with this organization now for a year. I think there, again, a lot of love there, and I think Oregon's going to do really well. So I have Bo Nix at number 3 for me.
Okay. The reason why I told you to go, my number 3 was Jaden Daniels.
Okay.
So I didn't want to just skip again, and then you mess around and say my number 2 and number 1. So I'll go ahead and give my number. So my number 3 was Jaden Daniels. My number 2 is Jordan Travis. And it's hard for me to say that because I'm a Clemson fan, and I do not like Florida State. I hate Florida State more than I hate South Carolina Gamecocks. So I would say, even though I don't like Jordan Travis, I'm not going to be ignorant I think Jordan Travis is in a really good situation. He shredded Clemson last year. I think Florida State's going to be an even better team this year. I think they have a 50-50 chance at winning the ACC between the two teams in Clemson and Florida State. Those of you guys who watched the Florida State or the Clemson preview, I forget which one we did where I talked about this, but I think they're going to split games. I think whoever wins the first game is going to lose in the ACC championship. And I think they're going to play twice. I think there's going to be two really good football games. But I have Jordan Travis at number 2. I think he does everything for them, and I think he's going to have a really good season.
All right, so I'm going to give my 2 and 1. So I have Caleb Williams as number 2, and part of that is simply because I think when you win a Heisman, the voters get very, very hard on you. Now, I think he's going to be the most talented quarterback. I think he's going to be the number 1 pick. I think it is simply that voters, to win a Heisman twice, you have to blow voters away. We've seen it with Tebow. We've seen it and we can kind of go down the list of people who had great second years that just weren't in that Heisman talk. I think unless he literally dominates the competition, unless he's 500 yards better than the next best quarterback, 5 touchdowns better, and USC is in the championship picture, I think it's going to be hard for him to win the Heisman back-to-back years. And therefore, and I'm sure just me and Steven probably have this flip-flop. I have Jordan Travis as my Heisman favorite going into the season. As you guys know, I have Florida State as my favorite in the ACC, based kind of on that video. And I have Jordan Travis leading that team as a dual-threat quarterback. So just early on, and there's been a lot of hype around Florida State. We know what it comes down to for them, that Clemson game. And if he can have a showing in what I assume is going to be 2 Clemson games, if he can have a showing in that first Clemson game, I think September 29th, and then in the ACC championship, he may be on his way to a Heisman.
Alrighty, there you guys have it. That is the class.
You're number 1.
That's Caleb Williams is my number 1. I think he's going to repeat. I think USC is going to be really good. I think they're going to go 11-1 or 12-0, and I think he's going to put up identical numbers of what he did last year. So barring any injuries or anything like that, I think he repeats. But with that being said, there you guys have it, the Clash of Cultures 2023 Heisman predictions, and I guess projections, if you want to say. But again, fans in the comment section, who are your top 5 Heisman kind of front runners for next year? And then who are some of your dark horses? What don't you believe or agree with us? What do you agree with as well? But also make sure you guys drop a like. Please subscribe. Like I said, we're going to be on the road to 1,000 subscribers. You may get a signed jersey for one of these guys, so be sure to subscribe, as well as drop a comment down below. Any other video ideas you guys have, any position groups, conference outlooks, any other teams that you guys may want to see. But as always, we will see you guys next time. Tomorrow is going to be the college football playoff preview, basically us choosing what teams we think is going to make the playoffs. So make sure you guys come back for that. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss an upload. We'll see you guys.